Hey guys, my name's Alicia, and if you didn't know, I sell secondhand items on the apps Depop and Poshmark, and every month I make a video talking about what I sold and how much money I made. So today we're going to be talking about what sold for the month of December 2022, and the title is true. This is going to be my very last what sold video ever. I am going to go way more into detail about why that is at the end of this video. But first, of course, we got to talk about the sales. So in December, I ended up selling 23 different items, which is pretty average for me, I'd say. It's nothing crazy, pretty typical. 8 of those sales came from Depop, 8 came from Instagram, 6 from Poshmark, and 1 from Vinted. So honestly, a pretty even spread across the board, except for Vinted, of course. And Depop and Poshmark were my top sellers of the month, kind of like tied in first place. But Poshmark followed close behind, which is nice because Poshmark has been really slow for me lately, so 6 Poshmark sales is actually pretty good. So let's get into exactly what sold for the month of December. Okay, so the very first thing I sold was on Instagram. It was for this needlepoint cat tote bag. This was actually purchased from one of my viewers, so thank you very much if you're watching. I ended up selling it for $15 plus $10 shipping. This bag only cost me $4.88 at the thrift store, which honestly isn't bad. Plus, I didn't have to pay any Depop or PayPal fees or anything like that because I was selling on Instagram. So at the end of the day, I made $9.37. Technically a little bit under my goal of like at least bare minimum $10, but it was a bag, so I was still pretty happy with that. I do have a big goal for 2023 to really increase my net profits per item, but $9, not bad. Next on Depop, I sold this international denim vintage turquoise Letterman jacket. I ended up selling it for $40 plus $10 shipping. Shipping was a little pricey on this one, but this item was actually gifted to me. I didn't have to pay any cost of goods, which definitely helped, bringing my profit to $19.66, which is super good and definitely closer to the numbers I really want to be striving for in the new year. Next, I made a Poshmark sale. It was for this pink and brown checkered knit sweater. I think somebody sent me an offer for $29, which I accepted. It cost me over $6 at the thrift store, meaning that at the end of the day, after Poshmark's fees and everything, I still made $16.49, which I was happy about. Then next, I made my first and only Vinted sale of the month. And Vinted, like, I've kind of been flipping and flopping with, like, I really liked it at one point, but this past month, it's kind of been driving me a little crazy. They, like, randomly blocked all of my listings and then unblocked them because it was, like, a mistake. And then this order in particular was a little bit frustrating. So basically, I ended up selling these Guess dark blue denim shorts, which have been in my inventory for so long, so I was so excited to see that they finally sold. Somebody sent me an offer for $14, which I happily accepted. These shorts did cost me over $5 at the thrift store, but as you guys may or may not know, you actually don't have to pay any fees to Vinted, which really helps, meaning that I actually ended up making $8.44, which is definitely below my goal, but at this point I was really just trying to get rid of these shorts. So I was totally happy with that, but it was kind of after the sale where things started to get a little bit weird. Basically, the customer sent me a message, I think like the day after, or maybe 2 days after that they purchased it, asking me if I had shipped it yet, like very, very urgently. And according to Vinted's rules, you have up to 5 days to ship the item, so that was kind of a red flag. I was like kind of weirded out by that. And then immediately the customer tried to cancel the order because shipping was taking too long apparently, even though it was only like 2 days. So red flag number 2, that was super weird. So basically I ended up shipping out the order the next day. It wasn't until the customer actually received the order where they said the item did not fit them and they wanted to return it, which all of my listings have exact measurements, which I know it's new to some people, but in my opinion, if there's exact measurements, like you should basically be able to tell like whether it's going to fit you or not. So what I think happened is this person bought this order, saw afterwards that there were exact measurements, realized it wasn't going to fit them, and tried to cancel the order before it was even shipped to them, which honestly makes sense. It's fine. The only issue is that unlike Poshmark, Vinted does not provide the buyer with a return label, meaning that they have to pay extra for their own shipping to send it back to me to get a refund, which unless the item's like crazy expensive, no one's gonna do that, unfortunately. So the buyer has yet to return the item back to me. I have not got my money back, so it's kind of up in the air right now. The case is still open, but this is kind of why I'm kind of done with Vinted, because I just feel like even like the customer support for the buyer, like, was not great. That's basically what happened. Next on Depop, I sold this Jump Clothing Co. vintage striped button-up cardigan, which once again actually was purchased from a viewer, so thank you so much. I ended up selling it for $35 plus $15 shipping, so I guess this one was going to the US. And because this was another item that was gifted to me, I ended up making $21.98, which was really good. Totally happy with that. Next on Depop, I sold a little bundle of this Valmont denim pinafore dress and these key vintage overalls. Ended up selling that bundle for $100, including free shipping. I recently changed my bundle offers to include free shipping just to kind of like encourage buyers more. Both of those items did cost me $18.33, but at the end of the day, I still made $53.60. So a little over $25 per item, which is actually really, really good. So I was totally happy with that. Then next on Depop, I sold this Gianni Antonio vintage black leather jacket. I ended up selling that for $50 plus $10 shipping. I thought shipping was going to be super expensive for this item because it was really heavy and quite large, but it only ended up being $16, which honestly really good. And once again, an item I actually didn't pay for. This was like my uncle was like clearing out his closet full of random jackets and he kindly gave them to me. So at the end of the day, I actually made $35.27, which is really, really good for a single item. Obviously helped that I didn't pay for it, but very happy about that. Then next on Poshmark, I sold these Al Pacino vintage green jeans. I was getting a little worried about because they were more of a skinny jean, which isn't brilliant style right now, but they ended up selling for $34. I think somebody sent me an offer, which I happily accepted. And at the end of the day, I made $27.20. Then next on Poshmark, I sold this Hiker's Haven gray ribbed turtleneck. This was an item from my personal collection that I decluttered in a closet cleaning out like quite a while ago, and it finally sold. I ended up accepting an offer for $12, which is quite low, but because it was just one of my personal items that I was truly just trying to get rid of, I accepted it. And technically at the end of the day, I made around $8.05. That technically does not include what I paid for it because I kind of forget what I paid for it because I was not intending on selling it, but I don't think it was more than $3, so glad to get rid of that item. Then next on Poshmark, I sold these Vans V sneakers. These were kindly just given to me by a friend. I think I accepted an offer for $25 on Poshmark, and after all their fees and everything, I just made $20 flat, so totally happy with that. Next on Instagram, I sold this Disney vintage Winnie the Pooh long sleeve to once again a viewer, so thank you so much if you're watching. Sold it for $20 plus $10 shipping. I found this one for super cheap at the thrift store, like only $3, meaning that at the end of the day I made $16.75, so super happy with that. Then next on Instagram, I sold this Muskoka Lakes vintage brown Sherpa jacket, once again pretty sure purchased by one of my viewers, so thank you. Ended up selling it for $30 plus $10 shipping. It was fairly pricey at the thrift store. I did kind of splurge on it a bit at $12.81, but at the end of the day, I still made $13.64, so nothing crazy, but I was happy with that. Then next on Depop, I sold this The Perfect 40-Year-Old t-shirt. I actually picked this up from a garage sale a while ago for only $5. I ended up selling it for $24.99 plus $10 shipping, and at the end of the day, I made $14.28, so honestly, not bad for a t-shirt. I was happy with that. Then next on Poshmark, I sold this Dynamite vintage purple pattern mini skirt. Ended up selling that for $30, and at the end of the day made $23.20. Next on Instagram, I sold these Levi's vintage 550 light wash jeans. I ended up selling them for $40 plus $10 shipping. Shipping ended up being pricey for these considering I was shipping them like within Ontario. I still made $20.14, so totally happy with that. Then next on Instagram, I sold this Surf and Style vintage purple windbreaker. I ended up selling it for $25, and because it's one of my friends who's coming to pick it up, did not have to charge or pay for shipping, so at the end of the day, I'm actually making a flat $25, which is really cool. Pretty much like 100% profit, because once again, this item was gifted to me, so it definitely made more than usual on that one. Then next on Instagram, I sold this Adidas vintage purple layered long sleeve. Ended up selling that for $20. I actually picked it up for only $3.60 at the thrift, which was really good. And at the end of the day, I made $16.40. Super happy with that considering it was just kind of a t-shirt. Then next on Instagram, I sold these Seductions Y2K low rise waistband flare jeans. I actually ended up selling them for only $20 because it was actually one of my family members that purchased it, so I just wanted to give them a really good deal. And although I only made $8.89 off of them. Sometimes I do like to offer my immediate family members, you know, pretty good discounts, especially when they buy from me all the time. Then next on Depop, I sold this Morning Sun green penguin crew neck. I ended up selling that for $34.99 plus $9.99 shipping. And at the end of the day, I made $22.46. And then lastly, on Depop, I sold this Lang vintage red floral lace-up back dress. Finally, I was really excited to finally sell this because I've had it listed for quite a while and I just think it's the coolest dress ever. So surprised it didn't sell earlier. The thing with this one is I ended up accepting an offer for $40 plus $10 shipping, which normally would have been fine, except I did kind of splurge on this one at the thrift for $15. Plus shipping actually ended up being like super expensive on this one at $22. So at the end of the day, I only made $5.12 off this dress, which definitely is my lowest margin of the month. Definitely was not worth it. And I feel like this happens to me all the time where I'm like, somebody sends me an offer and like in my heart, I'm like, I should not accept that. I don't know where they're located. I don't know how much shipping's gonna cost, but it's just so easy to press that accept button, especially when half the time the offers don't even go through anyways. I definitely had that one coming because this was my very last sale of the year. I feel like in 2023, it's just a sign for me to stop settling for offers. Like, although this dress had been listed for a while, like at the end of the day, only making $5 off of it is not worth it for me. So I'm trying to be better at that and like making more calculated decisions. So that is everything that sold for this month. So as per usual, I'm gonna go ahead, add everything up, and we're gonna see how much money I made. All right guys, so this month I actually ended up making $424.64. So super good. Definitely not like my best month ever, but that is a good chunk of change. And considering the fact that I only sold 23 items, that's actually really good because that actually means I had an average profit of about $18.46 per item, which is quite high and definitely a number that I'm striving closer towards in 2023. I will admit, guys, a lot of the items I sold this month were gifted to me through like sponsorships and partnerships and stuff. Some were just like from my friends as well, which is totally helpful. So I think that certainly helped my margins for the month, for sure. And like I said in one of my recent past what sold videos, I just try to keep it real with you guys that like as a content creator, that is definitely a perk and definitely skews my numbers to be a little bit more unrealistic than the average person. So I just wanted to lay that out clear. As for my sell-through rate, I actually listed 36 items this month, and as you guys know, only sold 23, meaning I had a sell-through rate of about 64%, so a little bit over half. So honestly not bad, but compared to past months where I've sold like pretty much everything, it's definitely like a little bit slower. So I am excited to see how January goes because last year January was like weirdly a really good month for me. So hopefully it goes the same again this year. And lastly, guys, I did obviously want to address why this is going to be my last what sold video ever. I knew I was going to end this series eventually. I just wasn't sure when. And I actually made this decision very recently. For one, I am kind of getting like a little bit tired of the repetitiveness. I have been doing this series for over a year now. So in a way, I do really enjoy doing these videos because it kind of gives me a break from having to be creative and I can just like talk about my sales, whatever, but at the same time, it's not boring, but I don't know. It's not as creative. But the main reason that I wanted to end this series is because I have very big goals for 2023 for my channel, and I feel like my What Sold series video is really holding me back. According to my analytics, it is by far always my lowest performing videos of the month, and I feel like my channel's a little divided right now because, you know, some people are here for the business side, some people are just here for the thrifty creative side, and I think in order to actually like reach my goals in 2023, I just have to choose one path to go down, and that is to focus more on thrifting, more on creativity. Like I want to do a lot more like DIY videos and that kind of thing, and focus a little bit less on the whole business side. So like I said, it's bittersweet because I really enjoyed making this content, and like I know a lot of you guys really enjoyed watching these videos, but like I said, I think it's the one big thing that's really holding my channel back. I don't know, I think it maybe turns off a few people from the rest of my videos. So I thought December would be the perfect spot to end the series. So I hope you guys aren't too disappointed. I hope you guys will still stick around for the rest of my videos. And I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who has been following along this series specifically. I'm so glad this was a good resource for you and you guys really enjoyed this. I mean, there is like over a year's worth of them, so you can definitely go back and rewatch them. So once again, thank you to everyone who's been supporting me for this long. But I'm very, very excited to see this new direction for my channel in 2023, and I hope you guys are too. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week.